What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hawk, and welcome back to another episode of Hawk's Hoops. Also, we can just pass. I'm recording this on Monday night. The All-Star game was just last night. You know, All-Star Saturday night, All-Star Friday night. All of those festivities just took place, and we're going to talk about it because I got some opinions. First off, I'm going to just put a disclaimer. I ain't going to talk about everything that went down because I didn't watch everything that went down, and honestly, I don't really care about everything that went down during All-Star break. I didn't watch the Rising Stars game. I saw some highlights of it. I knew it was going to be pretty interesting to watch, but it was on Valentine's Day. Me and my fiance was out. Comes to All-Star Saturday night, I ain't going to hold you. Only thing I watched was the dunk contest, and that's what we're going to talk about first. But I will say shout out to Buddy Hield for winning the three-point contest, and big shout out to Bam Adebayo for winning the skills competition. As a center, he is special. I'm not trying to gas it, but he's special. You know, the Heat play him at center. He's seemed like he emerged this season into the All-Star that he is and inevitably turned out to be. But he can kind of do it all. He can handle the rock. He can pass. He can shoot. And he shot that three real confident. I don't watch a ton of Miami, I ain't gonna hold you, but I ain't really seen him shoot a lot this season. But he shot that three at the top of the key real confident, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Heat start to add that wrinkle into their offense a little bit more. But moving on to what we all tune into Saturday night for, the dunk contest. Let me say off the rip, this was probably one of the most exciting dunk contests of my life. I would have to put this up there with the Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine dunk contest that we saw a couple years ago. First off, let me say shout out to all the dunkers. It honestly, truly was an amazing, it honestly truly was an amazing dunk competition. Dwight Howard, Pat Connaughton, Derrick Jones Jr., and of course Aaron Gordon all put on a fabulous show. Pat Connaughton jumped over Giannis. Pat Connaughton jumped over Giannis. Dwight Howard, of course, he had to bring out the Superman cape once again and did a tribute to Kobe. But the real showstoppers were Derrick Jones Jr. and Aaron Gordon. I'm not really gonna do the play-by-play. If you watching this, you watched the dunk contest and you most likely know what happened. Aaron Gordon put on a show and did literally 5 dunks really. He hit 5 50s in a row. All of those 50s, to me, I'll say, were dunks I ain't never seen before. He was pulling some tricks out of his bag. Derrick Jones Jr., also amazing dunker. They was really going pound for pound, tit for tat, doing a great job. But then it got real controversial. Like I said, if you've seen this, you know how it goes. If they end up tying in the final round, they both get 50s. They go to a dunk off, essentially. Derrick Jones Jr. gets a 48 on his last dunk. And then Aaron Gordon jumps over 7'5" taco fall. 7'5" taco fall. And gets a 47. Now, some people were saying he didn't really clear Taco. It looked like his leg hit his head. If you ask me, his leg didn't hit his head. He cleared Taco, but Taco's hands added like another 6 inches to the top of his head, and his head was sticking straight up. He wasn't holding the ball like everyone else was holding the ball all night. His hands were just in the way. No one else was doing that. He cleared Taco Fall. And even if he didn't fully clear him, as some people are saying, maybe you're one of those people, he still cleared at least 7 foot and 3 inches of Taco Fall. And he didn't get over a 48 for that. He got a 47. Now, mind you, I was watching this game by myself. I wish I was watching with somebody else because I promise you, I noticed this before I saw it over Twitter. Because right before the judges announced their scores and the scores lit up for everyone to see, D-Wade had already stood up, took off his headpiece, and had turned his back to the judges. And then when the scores lit up, Common and who was at the end? Who was at the end of the joint? I can't remember who was at the end right now, but Common was sitting right next to D-Wade and looked at him like, bro, what is you doing? So the theory is, Common said they were all supposed to, have the same score back twice. It was supposed to be tied. Then it was going to go to judge's decision or continue to dunk off. That was apparently the agreement amongst the judges. And Common says he don't know who messed it up, but everyone's saying Dwayne Wade messed it up because also it's a little fishy. Dwayne Wade's, a Heat legend, a Miami lifer, and he happens to be one of the judges when a Miami Heat player is playing, you know, so it seemed a little unfair, and all the eyes are pointing at Dwayne Wade in terms of who did something wrong. But I say all that to say, I personally feel like Aaron Gordon got robbed twice. He should have 2 slam dunk championships. He has none. And he says he's not going to, you know, do it again because he feels like he keeps getting robbed, which I'm not mad at him for. Moving on to All-Star Sunday night and the actual All-Star game. Now, I believe I said last week I ain't have no faith in Team Giannis. I felt like he drafted poorly and LeBron's team was just head and shoulders above his team. And it turned out that I wasn't completely right. You know, I still had LeBron's team winning the game, which they did, but it was a whole lot closer and a whole lot more exciting than I think I was expecting. The new format seemed to work really well. The players were really into it. Every quarter did feel like if it was close, they were going to try to win that quarter because they knew that money was going to go to charity. But I'm not going to lie, it was a little weird when it was halftime and the score technically was like 30-something to 40-something or whatever it was at halftime. Of course, the fourth quarter is where it really got interesting. They added 24 points to Team Giannis' score at the time, giving the new total score that the goal was 157. And Team Giannis was up going into the fourth quarter, and they folded. I don't really have a better explanation besides they folded. They had like I think a 10 or 11, somewhere between a 11 and an 8-point lead. Hold on. Team Giannis had an 11-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and if you ask me, they lost the game. They lost the game more than Team LeBron won the game. First off, I'll tell you, I hated the lineup that Team Giannis ended the game with. Having Giannis, Joel, and Pascal Siakam on the floor all at the same time literally made no sense to me. Granted, they still had Kemba Walker on the floor who can shoot, Kyle Lowry who can throw shots at the backboard apparently because he wasn't trying to shoot. Every time Kyle Lowry had the ball, he was just dribbling to the free throw line, dribble, throw something at the rim because it didn't look like a shot. It was just some dumb fadeaway mess. Every time either Giannis, Joel, or Pascal Siakam got the ball, they would try to post up from the three-point line and back their person down the whole way. Whatever the combination of players that didn't have the ball out of those big three, they can't shoot. So whoever was trying to post up from the three-point line kept getting double teamed. So it seemed like it was 3, 4, 5 possessions in a row almost where Team Giannis just wasn't scoring. They were turning the ball over. Kemba turned the ball over like 3 possessions in a row. They were trying to post up. None of that was working. It just seemed real stagnant. Like, the offense from Team Giannis was trash. Team LeBron, on the other hand, also was struggling offensively a little bit, but that wasn't until like the very, very end of the game when they were not, to me, they weren't struggling. They were just trying to force that three, but they were chugging along and outscored them. I think it was like 30-something to 20-something. They ended up outscoring them in that fourth quarter, but overall, it was really exciting. It was probably the most exciting All-Star game I've ever seen. I can't remember an All-Star game in recent history that was that close, that late into the game. I've seen All-Star games that I can, remember in my head where the Eastern Conference was probably up going into the fourth quarter, and then the Western Conference was like, all right, we done playing with y'all. And then they win it probably in the first 5 minutes of that fourth quarter, but then they get a lead and it's no longer competitive anymore because they've built a lead and they're going to hold on to that lead. This was done in such a way that it was close the whole time. Like once Team LeBron kind of came back and made up for that 11-point, 10-point deficit, they were right there neck and neck. They were trying to stop each other from scoring. Kyle Lowry took like 3 charges in an All-Star game, something you would never see in an All-Star game prior. Rudy Gobert was going for blocks. Let me just say this right now. Rudy Gobert, I feel like I gotta apologize to him. I didn't think he was gonna be good. At first I was like, not think he was gonna be good. I know he's a good player, but I was like, what he gonna do in an All-Star game? But he stuck to his game. He caught a ton of lobs from Trae Young, put back dunks, and he actually was going for blocks and trying to, play a little bit of defense. It was exciting to see him out there. Everybody's a little upset that the game ended in that free throw, but I think that's a really easy fix the NBA can do when saying that you have to win on a field goal. So, for example, in that instance, since Team LeBron had 156, when Anthony Davis makes that last free throw, they just might not get that point. Or they get the ball back. If you get fouled, like on a shooting foul, you just run that possession again because you have to win on a field goal, which I think will be a really easy fix because it did feel kind of anticlimactic. You didn't really get the feeling of like a game-winning shot, which I think everyone really wanted to see. But overall, I think it was really, really good. Initially, I thought that fourth quarter was going to go really fast because 24 points isn't really that much, but players were really starting to lock in and play really good defense. And it felt like that fourth quarter lasted like 20, almost 30 minutes, way longer than what we would have gotten out of just a regular, 12-minute quarter. But overall, All-Star Weekend, at least the parts that I saw were blast. One of the best All-Star Weekends that I can think of in recent memory. There's a ton of other things I want to talk about, but this video is already long enough. Follow me on my Instagram at hawkshoopstv, and I'll be posting some of my thoughts going into the second half of the season. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Hoops. The All-Star Weekend just passed. All-Star Weekend, we just witnessed an amazing All-Star Weekend free throw, but I think that's a really easy fix the NBA can do when saying that you have to win on a field goal. So like if in that instance, since Team LeBron had 157, since